What are you doing with that? Put that down right now. What are you doing in my house?
All right, let's do this.
And camera rolls. Threat!
Put that TV down. Okay? Every skill and every move that we break down needs context. The scenario is always going to drive our actions. In this case, we're talking about home defense, and we're talking about transitioning between firearm to firearm. So when we talk about this home defense scenario, and I walk out and I open up a door and I see a guy in the middle of my living room trying to steal a TV, already I start assessing. Do I have the time and opportunity? Can I stop him? Should I stop him? Does he have a gun? Does he not have a gun? All those things are running through my mind as I'm target IDing. At some point, I need to be able to engage him if necessary. The three most important things to think about is speed, layering our security, and having the right equipment. The first thing we talk about is speed. If I'm in a confrontation or I'm in a firefight, every split second counts, and it's critical for me to get my gun back up and get back in the fight, especially if you have a family behind you. When we talk about transitioning firearms, getting our primary back up into the fight is gonna take longer than to just transition to a gun that already has a round prepped in the chamber, ready to go. So again, if I'm in a home defense scenario and I have the time and opportunity to throw a pistol on my hip, that's gonna be better than just having one gun. If that thing does go down on me and I have an empty chamber or a malfunction show up, I can get rid of it and get my gun back up online. If that gun doesn't do what I need it to do, I'm getting rid of it and I'm getting my secondary up. Speed is everything. The next thing is layering our security. Just like we layer the security around our homes with alarm systems and locks and bolts and fences, all those things are gonna add up to keep you safer. So if we have the time and opportunity, even in a home defense scenario, if I grab my carbine and have the time to add a secondary, I'm gonna layer that security. So if that gun does go down, I have something to fall back on. If you're in your bedroom and you hear something in the middle of the day, how much time do you have? Do you know how much time you have? What are your layers of security in your home? This is just another layer of security. And if I have the time and opportunity to grab it, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yep. Hey! The third thing is equipment, having the right gear. And a big thing that's gonna drive it is your lifestyle. Do you have kids? Do you have a family? Do you live by yourself? What's your apartment like? What's your house like? If I don't have the right setup with the right sling, the right holster, the right weapons platform, that's gonna slow me down. But it doesn't just happen by buying something. You can't just expect to buy a piece of equipment and be good. You have to get to the range and you guys have to get the reps in. Understand how to manipulate the safety. Understand how to get that gun back in the fight. Understand how to take accurate shots at close and long ranges. Building good motor memory and having good training, being able to transition from primary to secondary firearm is gonna help you guys get your gun back in the fight if a threat does present itself. After manipulating the safety and engaging the target, I immediately identify the condition of the firearm and can feel when my gun is dry or has malfunctioned, initiating my immediate action sequence. I simultaneously sweep my primary gun out of the way and move my right hand to reference my secondary. Keeping my eyes in the fight and awareness high is critical. As I control my primary's descent, making sure to pin it against my body to keep it from swinging around, I establish a 3-finger grip on my firearm. My lead hand starts to move towards the center of my body to meet my pistol for a 2-handed grip. Proximity of the threat will determine when I put my finger on the trigger. Once my hands meet at center chest, I can now start my press out, hunting for my front sight to come into my focal plane, while maintaining a high level of awareness in the immediate area and scanning to take shots if necessary. All right, guys, wrapping up the debrief for this scenario. Why transition in the first place? When we're in a CQB environment, we transition because something happened to our primary gun. Typically, the rule of thumb for me is that if I'm in a close quarter battle in an urban environment that has doors, spaces, and rooms, when I hear that click or my gun doesn't work the way I want, I'm gonna transition to my secondary. If I'm out in an open field and I'm past 50 to 100 yards, my pistol's not gonna do me much good in that situation. So if my gun goes click and I have a secondary on me, I better get my primary back up. So what can you guys do to get better at transitioning? Have your buddies put dummy rounds in your guns. Do things that increase your reaction time on identifying what is wrong with your AR or your primary platform. You can train to feel what your gun does. I don't care if it's in the heat of the battle and you're under stress. If my gun goes click, I can feel that. If my gun goes dry, I can feel that. If my gun has a double feed, I can feel that. But you have to get the repetition in. Does it take thousands of reps to do that? Yes, and that's up to you to get on the range and go train in. Remember, the 3 things that we're gonna take away from this today are speed, layering our security, and having the right equipment. We'll see you guys the next time we break down our next move.